Hello students, this is part 3 of the review for the interim assessment. The interim assessment 2, which will be given at the end of this week, the first week of January. Looking at the linear equations and inequality sheet, the first practice question is just dealing with determining which of these graphs matches the inequality. Well, you can't do that just by looking at the inequality, you gotta solve it. Sometimes you gotta get your hands dirty, so to speak. So the first thing we're going to do is write out the inequality and then solve it. We're going to start with 2x minus 3y is less than or equal to. And I figured out a way to put that in here, but I don't want to do that. Oh, here we go. Less than or equal to 9. So in order to solve this, we want to solve this for y. So we're going to try to move all the other variables to the other side. We'll subtract 2x from both sides, and we'll get negative 3y is less than or equal to. Since I subtracted 2x from both sides, it's going to become a negative 2x, and then the 9 is positive, so plus 9. Next step is to divide both sides by negative 3. We want to get the y by itself, so we got a y here. But I can't have this be the same sign, because I'm dividing by a negative 3. So I'm going to insert the other symbol, which is greater than or equal to. 2 divided by 3, or negative 2 divided by negative 3, is just 2/3. 2/3 x, and now I know that 9 divided by negative 3 is going to give me a negative 3. So I have my inequality all set up. Now I just have to choose which one of these graphs matches the inequality. First of all, it's a solid line. I can see that because there's an underline underneath here. All of these are solid lines, so that doesn't really help. I can also see that the y-intercept is negative 3. This y-intercept is negative 3, so it's possible. Negative 3, possible. Negative 3, possible. This is positive 3, so it's not that one. I can also see that the slope is positive 2 over 3, so it's got to be a line that's going upwards. This line is going upwards. This line is going downwards, so it's not b. And this line is also going upwards. As a matter of fact, these two lines are exactly the same lines, except one of them is shaded up and one of them shaded down. This is greater than, which means shaded up. The choice A is your answer. This one was very similar to the previous one. We can analyze it just the same way. Positive 2 is our y-intercept. This is negative 1, so that's not it. This is negative 4, so that's not it. This is negative 3, so it's not it. Positive 2 is our y-intercept, and the only one with positive 2 as its y-intercept is C. You didn't even have to know any of this other stuff. All you had to do was look at the y-intercept. How about that? Let's see. At the bottom of that page, where am I here? At the bottom of that page, it's a horizontal line inequality. And these are a little bit more difficult to think about because there's no slope to them. The only thing that you have is a y-intercept. This y-intercept is at positive 2. So when I look, this is an x graph, so that's going to be a vertical line. So that's not it. This is also an x graph, which is a vertical line. So that's not it. It's either B or C, and this y-intercept is positive 2. So we're going with y is less than or equal to positive 2. No big deal. It asks you to graph the solution to 6x plus 2y is greater than or equal to 4. And in order to do that, we have to solve for that value. So we'll write it down. 6x plus 2y is greater than or equal to, oh, wrong symbol. We need greater than or equal to 4. So we got to solve this for y in order to graph it. So just the same way as we did last time, we're going to subtract 6x from both sides. So I get 2y. And that same symbol, so I'll grab that symbol. And I'll throw it down here. We subtracted 6x from both sides, so it's a negative 6x plus 4. The main difference between this problem and the problem before it is when we divide by the coefficient of y, when we divide by 2, we don't have to flip the sign because we're dividing by a positive 2, not a negative 3 as before. So y is greater than or equal to. If I divide negative 6 by 2, I get negative 3. And when I divide 4 by 2, I get 2. So here's my inequality. Y is greater than negative 3x plus 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plot my y-intercept. That's 2 on this disgusting fuzzy graph. the slope is -3, which means go down 3 and go over 1. Go down 3 over 1. And when you go down 3, that's because it's a negative number. But you know when you go over, it's always going to be to the right. So from this point I go down 3, because it says -3. And when I go over, my run is to the right. So instead of doing this over and over and over again, I'm going to get my little computer drawing program. I'm going to try to draw this up here. It looks pretty good. And I want to try to extend it to the edges of the paper. So let's see if I can extend it to the edges of the paper like this. Wow, getting really good at this here. We should actually see whether it's a dotted or solid line. When you look at this inequality, there's an underline underneath it, which means equal to. That means it's going to be a solid line, not a dotted line. So we did that part correct. Anyway, I'm going to put arrows at the edges of this to make it look like it's supposed to look. And now all I need is shading. It says greater than or equal to. So I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to shade up. Like so. You don't have to go too crazy with like shading like you would, I don't know, shade a drawing or something like that. You just have to shade with a couple of little lines like so. There you go. That's a graphed solution. If you were graphing two inequalities on the same graph, you would graph one of them first and graph the other one second. I mean, it's not rocket surgery. I don't want to go over number 5, but I do want to go over number 6. Which set of coordinates is a solution? If you come up to a question like this, you take the equation and you substitute all of these different points into it. So you'll say that this is the x value and this is the y value, and you'll see whether it works in the equation. I'm going to show you how that works for the first one. The equation is 2x minus y equals 11. And let's just see if this point works. -6 comma -1. So that means the x value is -6. So 2 times -6 minus the y value, which is -1. Is that equal to 11? We shall see. -6 times 2 is -12. -1 is +1. Is that equal to 11? Well, no. It's -11 equals 11. And that's not true, at least as far as I know. So that means that A is not the correct answer. So we'll cross that one off. But eventually we do want to find the correct answer, so I'll tell you that B is not it and C is not it, and I'm going to prove to you that D is the correct answer. So for D, I know that we can write out the same equation that we had, which is 2x minus y is equal to 11. I have my caps lock on for some reason. And I know that my x value is 2, and my y value is -7. So 2 times x, which is 2, minus the y value, which is -7, is equal to 11. 2 times 2, 4. -7 becomes +7 equals 11. And then 7 plus 4 is 11. Check that out. 11 equals 11. Since this is equal, that means that this point is a solution to this equation. Okay, we went over all of the sheets, and now I want to take a look at the post-test because several students had questions on the post-test, especially number 1. So let's talk about number 1 first. If 2x squared minus 4x plus 6 is subtracted from, this is going to be really important later, 5x squared plus 8x minus 2, the difference is. Well, if I told you, what is 5 subtracted from 10, your answer would be 5. Because I'm taking 10 and subtracting 5 from that. So I wouldn't say 5 minus 10, I would say 10 minus 5. If I asked you what 1 subtracted from 4 is, you would tell me 3, because I'm taking 4 and I'm subtracting 1 from it. So when you see the phrase subtracted from, you're not going to do the first thing minus the second thing. You're going to switch the order. Subtracted from means switch the order. Please remember that. I'll write that down. Subtracted from means switch the order. So let's do that. The equation, or the expression rather, is going to be 5x to the power of 2 plus 8x minus 2. Now I'm taking that whole expression and I'm subtracting from that to, let's see if I can do a little copy paste here, x squared minus 4x plus 6. A little space in here so you see what's going on. Now, I have a subtraction sign here, which means I'm going to have to distribute this to the second polynomial. So the first one is exactly the same. I could just literally copy and paste it. And I don't need the parentheses because the first one isn't being changed. But the second polynomial is going to be changed. Negative distributed to 2x squared is going to make this into minus 2x squared. Negative distributed to negative 4x makes the 4x become a positive 4x. And the negative distributed to a positive 6 makes the positive 6 into a negative 6. So now all we got to do is combine some like terms. 5x squared minus 2x squared, according to my knowledge, that should be 3x squared. 8x plus 4x should be plus 12x. And negative 2 minus 6, that should give us negative 8. So let's see if we did this right. There should be some sort of answer here that says 3x squared plus 12x minus 8. Man, so smart. What is the equation of a line in the accompanying graph? Here's our y-intercept, which is negative 2. So we'll go through and eliminate all the ones that don't have that y-intercept, which is this guy. It's a positive line, so we're looking to eliminate all the equations that have negative slopes. This one has a negative slope, so that can't be it. This one's not solved for slope-intercept form, so I want to leave this alone for a second. This one, though, has a positive 2 as its slope, which means up 2 over 1. That checks out. And it has a negative 2 as its y-intercept. That checks out. This is your answer. Even though I didn't really look into this one, it doesn't matter because I found my correct answer. What's the solution for the following systems of equations? In this one, there's a number of different ways you can do it, but my preferred way would be to take this x equals negative y and substitute it in to the other equation. That would make it much easier to solve. So I'm going to rewrite the bottom equation, which is x plus 2y equals 6. And I'm going to use the information that x is the same as negative y in my equation. I'm going to say, instead of x, I'm going to say negative y. And I'm going to write the same rest of the equation. Plus 2y equals 6. Negative y plus 2y is like saying, what's 2y minus y? Which is just 1y. I'm going to write it as y. Equals 6. So my y value is going to be 6. I don't know what my x value is, but let me use this information to try to answer the question. All of these are ordered pairs, but only one of these ordered pairs has y value of 6. So, it's definitely not this one. It's definitely not this one. And this one is y value of negative 6. That's not going to work. My y value is 6. That means this is my only possible answer, saving me about, a minute and a half of math time. Which graph illustrates the relationship x plus y is less than or equal to 4? All you have to do for this one, just like we did in the previous one, is solve the inequality. So it's x plus y. I need that inequality sign, which is less than or equal to, which is this guy. And solving this inequality is going to be pretty easy because all we have to do is subtract x from both sides. Y is less than or equal to. We have a 4 there, but we're subtracting x from both sides. Minus x plus 4. Now, which graph illustrates that relationship? Well, we need a y-intercept of 4. So, y-intercept of 4. This is possible because the y-intercept is 4. This is not because the y-intercept is negative 4. Sorry. This one is possible because the y-intercept is 4. And this one is possible because the y-intercept is 4. Looking at the other part, we know that this is a negative slope. It's going to be negative 1 as its slope. This is a positive slope. Nice try. Both of them look like they have the same y-intercept and the same slope. Now all we're looking for is shading. This is less than or equal to, so I'm looking for shaded down. That one's shaded up, this one's shaded down. Enough said. Alright, happy studying, and I hope you get a good grade on the interim assessment.